Things would have turned out better if she had lived. As it was, she died when I was a kid. And though everything that's happened to me since then is thoroughly my own fault, still, when I lost her, I lost sight of any landmark that might have led me someplace happier, to some more populated or congenial life. Her death, the dividing mark before and after. And though it's a bleak thing to admit all these years later, still, I've never met anyone who made me feel loved the way she did. Everything came alive in her company. She cast a charmed theatrical light about her so that to see anything through her eyes was to see it in brighter colors than ordinary. I remember a few weeks before she died, eating a late supper with her in an Italian restaurant down in the village, and how she grasped my sleeve at the sudden, almost painful loveliness of a birthday cake with lit candles being carried in procession from the kitchen. Faint circle of light wavering in across the dark ceiling, and then the cake set down to blaze amidst the family, beatifying an old lady's face, smiles all around, waiters stepping away with their hands behind their backs. Just an ordinary birthday dinner you might see anywhere in an inexpensive downtown restaurant, and I'm sure I wouldn't have even remembered it had she not died so soon after. But I thought about it again and again after her death, and indeed, I will probably think about it all my life. That candlelit circle, a tableau vivant of the daily commonplace happiness that was lost when I lost her. She was beautiful too. That's almost secondary, but still she was. When she came to New York fresh from Kansas, she worked part-time as a model, though she was too uneasy in front of the camera to be very good at it. Whatever she had, it didn't translate to film. And yet she was wholly herself, a rarity. I cannot recall ever seeing another person who really resembled her. She had black hair, fair skin that freckled in summer, china blue eyes with a lot of light in them, and the slant of her cheekbones, there was such an eccentric mixture of the tribal and the Celtic twilight that sometimes people guessed she was Icelandic. In fact, she was half Irish, half Cherokee, from a town in Kansas near the Oklahoma border, and she used to like to make me laugh by calling herself an Okie, even though she was as glossy and nervy and stylish as a racehorse. That exotic character, unfortunately, comes out a little too stark and unforgiving in photographs. Her freckles covered with makeup, her hair pulled back in a ponytail at the nape of her neck like some nobleman in the tale of Genji. And what doesn't come across at all is her warmth, her merry, unpredictable quality, which is what I loved about her most. It's clear from the stillness she emanates in pictures how much she mistrusted the camera. She gives off a watchful, tigerish air of steeling herself against attack. But in life, she wasn't like that. She moved with a thrilling quickness, gestures sudden and light, always perched on top of her chair like some long, elegant marsh bird about to startle and fly away. I loved the sandalwood perfume she wore, rough and unexpected. And I loved the rustle of her starched shirt when she swooped down to kiss me on the forehead. And her laugh was enough to make you want to kick over whatever you were doing and follow her down the street. Wherever she went, men looked at her out of the corner of their eyes, and sometimes they used to look at her in a way that bothered me a little. Her death was my fault. Other people have always been a little too quick to assure me that it wasn't, and yes, only a kid. Who could have known? Terrible accident, rotten luck, could have happened to anyone. It's all perfectly true, and I don't believe a word of it. It happened in New York, April 10th, 14 years ago. Even my hand balks at the date. I had to push to write it down just to keep the pen moving on the paper. It used to be a perfectly ordinary day, but now it sticks up on the calendar like a rusty nail. If the day had gone as planned, it would have faded into the sky unmarked, swallowed without a trace along with the rest of my 8th grade year. What would I remember of it now? Little or nothing. But of course, the texture of that morning is clearer than the present, down to the drenched, wet feel of the air. It had rained in the night, A terrible storm. Shops were flooded and a couple of subway stations closed. And the two of us were standing on the squelching carpet outside our apartment building while her favorite doorman, Goldie, who adored her, walked backwards down 57th with his arm up, whistling for a taxi. Cars whooshed by in sheets of dirty spray. Rain-swollen clouds tumbled high above the skyscrapers, blowing and shifting to patches of clear blue sky. And down below, on the street, beneath the exhaust fumes, the wind felt damp and soft like spring. Thank you.